you in a brand new movie adventure. This time, the monsters are real. Cartoon Network's Cartoon Theater presents Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. Tonight at 8, only on Cartoon Network.
Welcome back to the 11th annual Halloween special. Tonight we're talking about Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island, a film that is very special to most people from my generation. Here, the mystery gang reunite and visit Moonscar Island, a remote island with a dark secret. Daphne wants more than just a villain in a costume, and they might get just that. So I rewatched this movie under the best circumstances possible, on my back deck projector, while eating Halloween Crunch cereal. That shit turns your milk green, by the way. It's very impressive scientific stuff, which created a palpable sense of nostalgia that I can't really put into words. The first time I saw Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island was actually on Cartoon Network. They used to show movies on Sundays, and I was able to track down an HD remastered version of that preview. That was done by the YouTuber SlimD716. That YouTube page is also known as Toonami Remastered. They have so many amazing commercials, bumpers, and previews on their channel that have been redone in 4K with the original music. It's really impressive, and I just want to thank them for doing all that work. And my experience watching the movie for the first time was kind of unique because Scooby-Doo was a show that I often was allowed to watch because of the fact that most of the time, in fact 99.9% of the time, the monsters or the demons or the ghosts or the ghouls were always somebody in a mask complaining about meddling kids. As you guys know, when I was younger, I wasn't allowed to watch anything that had ghosts or demons or anything along those lines. Monsters and things like that were okay though. Zombies would have been a big no-no because it's the undead, and that's unnatural, it's spiritistic, and Jehovah's Witnesses don't like any of that shit. But with Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island, I watched it and I was like, oh, you know, it always ends up being somebody, you know? So it's okay. And like halfway through the film, I remember sitting there being like, huh. I think this might actually be real. But they've got me before. You know, it's a guy and it's a bunch of people in suits, for sure. And then the film ended and I was like, all right, I just got away with something. Am I about to get in trouble? And rewatching the film reminded me that happened a lot to me when I was younger. There'd be episodes of The X-Files I watched or random movies on TV that start out with a kind of mystery that seems like it might lean towards ghosts or something that I wasn't allowed to see, but you're just kind of waiting to see if it's actually confirmed to be that. Sometimes it's not, and I remember being like, all right, phew, I'm allowed to watch this. It's okay. Other times you get through the whole episode or the whole movie and you realize, nope, yeah, I wasn't allowed to watch that one. I'm gonna get in trouble now. So near the beginning of Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island, Shaggy and Scooby are working at an airport in the security section, and I have to wonder if they actually came across some contraband, shall we say, if Shaggy would feel the need to report it. You know he wouldn't. He'd be in the back with that contraband having a very nice chill time with Scooby. Velma works at a bookstore, which is an excellent choice for her character, and Daphne and Fred are doing a TV show about haunted locations. Because they're tired of all the monsters and ghouls and goblins they run into just being people in suits. This is a really smart idea, to make our lead characters be tired of all the schemes and pranks and want to find something real, because my generation largely did. One of the biggest reasons I was never a giant Scooby-Doo fan when I was a kid, although I certainly enjoyed watching the show, was because I never really felt a sense of stakes or danger because it always ended up being some guy in a suit. And I think a lot of other people around this time when the film came out in 1998 wanted it to be real. They wanted that sense of danger. And that's what this film gave us, because by the time they're on Moonscar Island investigating this supposedly haunted house, and "Get out, beware" is etched into the walls, it kind of seems like shit just got real. If you've never seen the movie, I am going to talk about some spoilers here. It's also a really good idea to have the actual lumber that built this house be made out of a pirate ship that's part of this ghostly legend. That's spooky shit. And that's like the definition of the word. I was having a conversation about this with some buddies the other day. The idea of spooky, scary, terrifying. What's the difference really? Spooky sort of evokes this feeling of fun, often aimed at younger audiences. It's scary, but you know you can have a good time. You're not going to jump a lot. You're going to feel very safe while experiencing the thrills, and I could see it genuinely terrifying, like, young kids. There are some transformations later in the movie that are quite horrifying, and the animation is spectacular for them. And when they're trying to unmask one of the zombies, they actually decapitate him, which, looking back, is actually kind of intense for a kid's animation. What's also really unique about this is that the werecats actually die, a rarity not just for Scooby-Doo, but most kids' animations of the era. In fact, still, you don't hear about death too much in animations or movies aimed at very young kids. I mean, how many times have you watched a kid's animation where two characters are fighting and they keep saying they're going to destroy one another or they're going to annihilate their enemy? They don't like to say kill. The exploration of our mortality is usually kept out of kids' animations and TV shows. Speaking of that animation, it's probably one of the few things about the movie that I'm going to harshly criticize. Sometimes it's great, like those transformation sequences, as well as the backgrounds. They look really good, but sometimes the animation for our characters is not always the best. And I'm not talking about comparing it to today. I actually have the perfect comparison for it, because this was a 1998 straight-to-video movie put out by Warner Brothers, which is the exact same circumstances that Batman Sub-Zero was released under. Same year, straight-to-video, Warner Brothers. And the animation for that film is much better. It's cleaner, smoother, and more dynamic. It's pretty much the only thing about the movie that could have been a little bit better, especially when compared to other Scooby-Doo movies. This is clearly one of the best, if not the best. If you've never seen Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island, I can confidently say it probably won't do a lot for you. And I mean that sincerely. I think this film is helped a lot by nostalgia. I think that it's going to mean much more to people who saw it when they were younger. But I do think that if you are a Scooby-Doo fan and you've never seen it before, it's probably going to be one of the better ones you've ever seen. And I have to give it major commendation for everything that I already said before. It was a kid's animation that actually explored mortality. The monsters were real. They weren't fake. It was a real situation with stakes and danger that the mystery gang found themselves in. And the idea of the zombies being the villains at first, but then the reversal that they're actually helping the mystery gang fight against these werecats is really fun. And if you look back on a montage that's in the movie, one of the zombies actually helps Shaggy through something, and it's sort of thrown away as this funny moment, but it was actually foreshadowing the fact that they're not evil. The movie's a lot of fun, so check it out this Halloween. Thank you guys so much for continuing to watch the 11th annual Halloween special, and if you like this, you can click right here and get Stuckmanized.